Tonight, we're covering explosive allegations first brought to light by forensic accountant and white-collar fraud expert Sam Antar. His investigative reporting details a pattern of alleged mortgage fraud and financial misrepresentation by none other than New York State Attorney General Letitia James.
This is the Publisher's Desk with Damon K. Jones, brought to you by Black Westchester Magazine, where life, culture, community, and faith meet truth, power, and purpose.
From the Publisher's Desk, I'm Damon K. Jones with Black Westchester Magazine, where independent black media speaks truth to power. Tonight, we're covering explosive allegations first brought to light by forensic accountant and white-collar fraud expert Sam Antar. His investigative reporting details a pattern of alleged mortgage fraud and financial misrepresentation by none other than New York State Attorney General Letitia James, now under federal scrutiny. According to Antar, the Federal Housing Finance Agency issued a criminal referral to the Department of Justice on April 14, 2025. The referral alleges that Attorney General Letitia James falsified mortgage documents and property records to obtain more favorable terms, potentially violating federal lending laws. And as Sam Antar reports, the allegations go even deeper than that. Her most recent financial disclosure, filed on May 13, 2025, omits key properties, reports phantom mortgages, and misrepresents property classifications.
Sam, let me ask you a question. You said on your X, you said multiple phantom mortgages. What do you mean by that?
Let's go back to what I described when she bought the property on Peroni Avenue in Virginia, which is the first of the two properties. The Sterling Street property was the one where she signed the affidavit.
Right.
All right. So the Peroni Avenue property, when I first looked, I saw two mortgages exceeding the value of the property by a ratio of at least 2-to-1. Then I looked and I saw a third mortgage that was never disclosed, and I couldn't find the two mortgages that were disclosed in the financial filings with New York State. These are what I call phantom mortgages. She has also another mortgage that she lists on her financial disclosures in relating to the 296 Brooklyn property, 296 Lafayette Avenue, Brooklyn. That mortgage appears on our financial disclosures to New York State. I can't find it in Acris. So here's the question. Okay, I don't think she made up those mortgages. This is my opinion. Again, I don't want to, I'll tell you when I deviate from facts to opinion. I don't think that she fabricated those mortgages. What I do think is questions should be asked. Why weren't those mortgages recorded?
Right. That's a standard.
That's the whole purpose of getting a mortgage.
Yeah,
they don't get any protection if it's an unrecorded mortgage. It's just like a regular general debt.
That's interesting. I guess. Well, how do you have mortgages that's not recorded? I'm confused. I'm.
No, what it is? She's been on the air. This is baseless. Is this? But she won't litigate. But she's litigating by saying it's baseless and all of that. The first 2 pages of a lawyer's rebuttal to the DOJ referral was all about Trump. I mean, I can't believe. I think she sees Trump when she wakes up in the morning, when she goes to sleep. I don't know. To me, it's like an obsession. And I'm not defending Trump. Believe me, I'm.
Sam, what you're saying. I want to make sure I'm clear. She didn't record the mortgage loan. Where?
Okay, the Brooklyn property. I'm not sure of the name, and I don't want to mix it up. Name is irrelevant. But I've written in my blog, Brooklyn property, there's one mortgage listed on our financial disclosures that cannot be found on Acris. Acris is the ruling database. Everybody uses Acris. It's a government-funded database.
So I just, the cop in me started like, okay, well, what's the benefit of not recording a mortgage loan? And AI spit out the answer. I have to verify this. But it literally says the main benefit of not recording a mortgage loan is to avoid paying mortgage recording taxes.
That is correct. New York is worse than the mafia when it comes to extracting money out of people.
Raising serious questions about whether the state's top prosecutor complies with the very laws she's sworn to enforce. Let's start with what Antar calls the hidden home. According to his report, James swore under oath that she would use a Norfolk, Virginia property as her principal residence to secure a $219,780 mortgage with Annie Mac Home Mortgage. She co-owns the home with her niece. However, after signing the declaration, She never moved in and failed to disclose the property on her state ethics filings for 2023 and 2024. Antar obtained documents showing the loan specifically required her to live there within 60 days and maintain it for at least 1 year. Meanwhile, just 6 weeks after signing that residency pledge, she was back in Manhattan launching her civil fraud trial against Donald Trump.
Mr. Trump and the Trump Organization repeatedly and persistently manipulated the value of assets to induce banks to lend money to the Trump Organization on more favorable terms than would otherwise have been available to the company, to pay lower taxes, to satisfy continuing loan agreements, and to induce insurance companies to provide insurance coverage for higher limits and at lower premiums. This conduct was all in violation of Executive Law, Section 6312, which gives the Attorney General broad and special powers to go after persistent and repeated fraud and illegality. As part of demonstrating illegality under that section of Law 6312, we show that they violated several state criminal laws, including falsifying business records, issuing false financial statements, insurance fraud, and engaging in a conspiracy to commit each of these state law violations.
Having never relocated to Virginia. Antar's reporting also notes a contradiction. James' attorney, Abbe Lowell, recently told federal investigators that she never intended to live there and was just a non-occupying co-borrower. That's a major problem. Either the mortgage application was fraudulent or the financial disclosures are. Both can't be true. Then there's the First Norfolk property. According to Antar, James claimed 2 mortgages in her 2023 and 2024 disclosures, one with Freedom Mortgage, another with National Mortgage. The problem? Neither mortgage exists. Public records show only one actual loan, a $109,600 mortgage with OVM Financial issued in 2020. That mortgage has never appeared in any of her state filings. Antar points out that in 2020, she reported rental income from the property. By 2021, the income had disappeared and fake mortgages had taken its place. If that sounds like misdirection, you're not alone. Supporters may try to explain this as a clerical error, but as Antar lays out, the inconsistencies are too precise, too persistent, and too legally significant to ignore. Next, we turn to her Brooklyn brownstone. In her disclosures, James has consistently referred to it as a 4-unit property. But Antar's investigation uncovered the original certificate of occupancy from 2001, which classifies it as a 5-family dwelling. Why would that matter? According to Antar, it matters because it allowed her to qualify for federal mortgage assistance programs, including HAMP, that are restricted to properties with 4 units or fewer. Antar even notes handwritten edit to her mortgage paperwork, where someone scribbled that 4 fam onto the forms. Multiple sources confirm the 5-unit status. Con Edison records, on-site inspections showing 5 doorbells, and city records. Still, in her 2024 financial disclosure, James again reports only 4 units. Across the board, Sam Antar outlines what he calls a systematic approach to disclosure manipulation.
And I live in an apartment back in the day. But anyway, so what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to look at the permitted occupancy of the property. Now, there was a certificate of occupancy that was, they inspected the premises and they filed it 3 weeks before she purchased the property. Probably when she was, in contract on the property. In other words, nobody goes and buys the property. Yeah, it's yours, off the shelf, whatever. The certificate of occupancy clearly states that it's 5 units, and any loan officer, any professional will tell you that the certificate of occupancy is the paramount document. You can't just turn a 5-unit building into 4 units by saying you're occupying 2 units. That's not the way it works. There has to be what's called a legal conversion. I think it's a Section 1A or something like that, conversion.
It's almost like a partition.
What?
It's almost like a partitioning of the property.
Right, exactly. There are building codes that go into it to prevent people from creating firehouses, etc.
Right.
Now, complaints were registered with the Department of Buildings. I don't know who did the complaints, but they were registered. And the Department of Buildings wrote it off as a minor error. What do you mean minor error? She's saying it's 4 units, it's 5 units. Now, was there political favoritism involved? I don't know, but it smells like all the years of one so-called mistake over another so-called mistake. It gets to the point that it's not a mistake anymore. You know, listen, in your experience as a cop, you get people that make that one mistake, right? And you say,
Right.
you know something, this is a warning, I'm going to let you go.
Right.
If you catch him again, what are you going to do?
Listen, I gave you the warning the last time. I need you to press down hard on this. It's 3 copies. Here's your copy of your citation. I'll see you in court.
I'm sorry, I didn't
Right.
hear.
I'm going to say, here's a copy of your citation. Press down real hard. It's 3 copies. I'll see you in court.
Right.
Right.
I'm not
Thank
giving the
God I
warning.
don't get any traffic citations. I haven't driven a car in 6 years.
So,
Yeah.
so
Wow.
someone explain the difference. So, and I try to break it down to the simplest form for our audience, you know, because a lot of us are not lawyers. And what's the big deal? Because there's something that you benefit if it was only 4
Yes.
units, and
difference
5 units or more is a commercial unit, which is judged or used separately. I want to explain
Right.
that part.
The difference between 4 or less units, okay, is that you're a residential property. The difference between 5 or more is that you're a commercial property. And that's a very big important thing. Number one is the underwriting standards are much more stringent on the commercial property. You got to put a higher down payment. The mortgage interest itself is much higher on a commercial property, and also the insurance is higher on a commercial property.
Not random mistakes. Here's the pattern he's identified. Real mortgages hidden. Phantom loans reported. Loan types misclassified. Property use misrepresented. Disclosures altered across multiple years. And these patterns didn't stop in 2020 or 2021. They continued into her most recent filing, submitted on May 13th, 2025. Antar's reporting outlines the potential legal consequences. False statements, 18 U.S.C., Section 1001. Mail and wire fraud, 18 U.S.C., Sections 1341, 1343. Ethics violations under New York Public Officers, Law Section 73, A, civil penalties up to $40,000. Possible criminal misdemeanor charges under New York law. Wait a minute. Doesn't that sound familiar?
Including falsifying business records, issuing false financial statements, insurance fraud, and engaging in a conspiracy to commit each of these state law violations.
These aren't partisan allegations. They're legal ones. And they come from a man who spent decades exposing white-collar fraud. Sam Antar's findings don't just question Letitia James' financial disclosures. They challenge the integrity of the state's top law enforcement office. She signed these disclosures under penalty of perjury. She had legal counsel. She had a warning. And yet, the filings continue to show the same irregularities. This is a developing story, and we'll keep following it as more facts emerge. If you care about truth over party, facts over spin, like, share, and subscribe to Black Westchester Magazine. Independent Black media is holding the line. I'm Damon K. Jones, and this has been From the Publisher's Desk. Stay informed, stay empowered, and stay Blacktastic. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like and share it with others who need to hear the truth. And for exclusive content and behind-the-scenes access, join the Black Westchester Magazine YouTube membership club today. Your support helps us keep independent Black media strong. Support independent Black media with style. Rock Black Westchester merch and represent the news with the Black point of view. Every purchase helps us speak truth to power.
This is the Publisher's Desk with Damon K. Jones, brought to you by Black Westchester Magazine, where life, culture, community, and faith meet truth, power, and purpose.